The void of space was quiet, almost arrogantly indifferent as the Galactic High Command observed the pale blue dot spinning in the outskirts of their maps. They called it Earth, and they called it inconsequential. A small planet, fragile and slow, its people chaotic and limited in technology compared to the sprawling civilizations they governed. In the High Command's council chamber, 1,000 eyes of crystalline beings glimmered in unison. A planet still crawling with war and disease, one of them hissed, its voice resonating like broken glass. Its surface is chaotic, its people primitive. Sending a fleet would be amusing, another shimmered. Indeed, they are barely capable of uniting against themselves. Mockery alone would suffice. And so the decree was made. Earth would be observed, ridiculed, and catalogued as an example of primitive failure. For the Galactic High Command, the verdict was already sealed. On Earth, life was oblivious to the cosmic mockery. Children played under dusty sunlit streets, lovers whispered promises beneath blooming trees, and the hum of daily human struggle filled the cities. Among them was Amara Lynn, a scientist whose eyes always carried the weight of curiosity. She felt the pulse of life in everything, from the smallest atom to the beating hearts of the people around her. One evening, as Amara peered through her telescope at the star-dotted sky, a strange distortion caught her eye, a flicker of light that did not belong to any known satellite or meteor. Her pulse quickened. It was subtle, almost shy, like a creature hesitant to reveal itself. But her intuition screamed, something was coming. Meanwhile, in a remote military command center, Captain Elias Rowan stood watching radar screens flicker erratically. The signals were inconsistent, almost playful in their pattern, but unmistakably artificial. He frowned. "We're being watched," he muttered to no one in particular. His colleagues laughed nervously, calling it paranoia. Yet Elias's gut told him the laughter was premature. As the night deepened, the stars seemed to hum with a rhythm, a pulse almost alive, vibrating through the earth itself. Amara felt it in her bones, a quiet warning, a challenge. Somewhere in the infinite darkness, a council of beings thought them weak, small, and incapable, and somewhere humanity's defiance was quietly stirring, waiting to ignite. The next morning, Earth's news was filled with odd phenomena. Satellites inexplicably malfunctioning, strange signals intercepted in radio frequencies, and sudden bursts of electromagnetic anomalies. The headlines screamed panic, but beneath the chaos, Amara and Elias felt a strange thrill. This was no ordinary problem. This was a test, though by whom they did not yet understand. Amara and Elias met by chance at an international symposium focused on space anomalies. Their hands brushed as they reached for the same data tablet, and the spark of mutual recognition ignited. "You've seen it too?" Amara asked, her voice tight with restrained excitement. Elias nodded. "It's observing us, like it's testing us, measuring us. I don't know why, but I feel we're not just witnessing something, we're being challenged." The world beyond Earth remained silent. The High Command, confident in their superiority, chuckled among themselves. "Primitive creatures," they said, their laughter echoing across light years. "They will amuse us with their attempts, but they will fail." And yet, unknown to them, the seeds of human ingenuity were already sprouting. Amara's mind raced with possibilities: communication, defense, adaptation. Elias's military precision saw strategies forming, lines of thought, patterns of reaction. And in cities, villages, laboratories, and classrooms across Earth, humanity was awakening to a subtle, silent call to action. The first part of the challenge was over, before it had begun. The High Command had mocked Earth. They had assumed superiority, arrogance guiding every thought. But humanity, as unpredictable as it was passionate, had begun to stir. The quiet determination of a single scientist and a single captain, two faces among billions, would soon ripple into something larger, something no crystalline eye had anticipated. As Amara stared once more at the stars, her reflection mirrored in the telescope's lens, she whispered almost to herself, "They don't know us yet." Not really, but soon, they will. And somewhere in the depths of space, the High Command's laughter echoed, ignorant of the storm it had awakened. The sun rose over the city of Aurora, painting the glass towers in hues of gold and rose. Humanity moved through its routine, unaware that the stars above had already begun to take notice. And yet, for a select few, The world had shifted in ways that could not be ignored. Amara Lynn walked briskly through the quiet campus of the Global Space Research Institute. Her mind raced with equations, projections, and the unshakable certainty that something extraordinary was approaching. The signals she had detected the night before were not random. They were deliberate, patterns within chaos, messages hidden in the static. Her colleague, Elias Rowan, had joined her in the laboratory. Military uniform slightly rumpled. He carried the weight of authority, but his eyes shone with the same curiosity that burned in Amara. "We need a plan," he said, voice low and urgent. "This isn't just observation. Whoever or whatever is out there is gauging our reaction." Amara nodded, tracing the flickering signals on her console. "They're probing for weaknesses, but they're subtle, almost playful, testing our creativity, our ingenuity. It's as if they're asking, can this species adapt?" Together, they pored over the data, devising methods to communicate, to respond, to make themselves understood. It wasn't just survival at stake. It was pride, spirit, and the quiet defiance of a species underestimated for centuries. Meanwhile, across the globe, other anomalies appeared. Ships in distant oceans were caught in strange electromagnetic pulses, weather satellites reported inexplicable energy surges, and amateur astronomers noted unusual patterns of light that resembled deliberate sequences. News outlets spun stories of natural phenomena, equipment malfunctions and mass hysteria, but beneath the surface something extraordinary was unfolding. Humanity was waking up to a challenge beyond imagination. At a remote observatory in the Andes, Amara and Elias convened with a small team of scientists and military strategists. Each brought unique expertise. Dr. Lina Cortez, an expert in quantum communication. Dr. Omar Faiz, a mathematician who saw patterns where others saw randomness. And Commander Jiro Tanaka, a logistics genius who could coordinate action on a planetary scale. "This is bigger than anything we've faced," Lina said, her hands trembling as she tapped her tablet. "They're not just watching. They're testing every system, every response. Every choice we make is under scrutiny." Omar leaned forward, eyes sharp. "Then let's give them something worth watching. If they think Earth is weak, they're about to be wrong." Elias spoke, steady and commanding. "We must respond strategically, not just with force but with ingenuity. We are unpredictable. That is our advantage." And so, the first spark of humanity's response began, not in warships or weapons, but in creativity. Signals were crafted, subtle patterns sent back into space, mimicking the strange, playful pulses that had first caught Amara's attention. They were carefully coded with mathematics, rhythm, and logic, messages that spoke of intelligence, curiosity, and resilience. For the first time, the High Command noticed. In their crystalline council chamber, the monitors flickered as Earth's response arrived, simple yet undeniable. A ripple of disbelief passed through them. Primitive, one being whispered, eyes narrowing. "And yet, coordinated, they are responding." "Yes," another said, its voice hesitant, almost fearful. "There is intent. They are clever. More than we anticipated." Back on Earth, the team watched the data streams, hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. Humanity had made contact, not with a handshake, not with diplomacy, but with ingenuity and defiance. Amara turned to Elias, her eyes wide with wonder. "They've underestimated us. They think our species is chaotic, fragile, weak, but we are unpredictable. We are creative. And we can adapt." Elias nodded, a small, proud smile breaking his usually stern demeanor. "Then let's make them remember it." As night fell over Earth, the team continued to send and receive, testing, learning, adapting. Humanity's first steps into a cosmic conversation were humble but determined, each signal a declaration. We exist. We matter. We will not be ignored. And far beyond, in the cold elegance of their council chamber, the Galactic High Command began to reassess their assumptions. They had mocked Earth. They had expected simplicity. But now, for the first time, they were uncertain. Somewhere deep in the void, among stars that had witnessed millennia of civilizations rise and fall, Earth's pulse began to grow, quiet, steady, yet unyielding. The first spark had been lit, and the galaxy, vast and unfeeling, had noticed. The night sky over Earth had never felt so alive. For the first time, humans sensed they were not alone, not just in theory but in experience. Strange lights danced across the atmosphere, Patterns flickering like messages, satellites behaved as if guided by invisible hands, and deep space telescopes recorded signals that defied known physics. Amara Lynn stood on the observation deck of the Aurora Space Research Institute, staring at the streaks of energy across the sky. Her heart pounded, equal parts fear and exhilaration. The signals had changed. They were no longer subtle, no longer gentle probes. There was intent now, a silent, calculating force observing humanity's response. Elias Rowan joined her, silent at first, watching the streaking lights. "They're not just watching anymore," he said finally. "They're analyzing, testing how we react under pressure. This is different." Amara nodded, turning back to the console. "And it's deliberate. Each anomaly corresponds to something we've done. They're adjusting their approach based on our behavior." Elsewhere, across oceans and continents, strange mechanical probes appeared in orbit, invisible to the naked eye but detectable with specialized instruments. The High Command's subtle mockery had shifted into quiet, controlled observation, their attention honing in on the planet's most creative and strategic minds. Dr. Lena Cortez, working tirelessly alongside Amara, noted a pattern emerging in the probe's behavior. "It's almost like a game," she whispered. "They're measuring every response. They're testing how adaptable we are, how quickly we can learn. They've never encountered a species like us." Elias frowned. "Then we need to change the game. If they expect chaos, let's give them order. If they expect weakness, let's show them resilience." Plans began to form. The team devised a system of countermeasures, not weapons, at least not in the traditional sense, but ingenious defenses. Satellites were reprogrammed to emit controlled electromagnetic pulses. Signal patterns were crafted to confuse and mislead, and humans on the ground prepared for contingencies nobody outside the inner circle could fully comprehend. Yet even as they worked, doubt crept in. Humanity had never faced an adversary like this. The High Command was ancient, experienced, and supremely confident. A single miscalculation could be catastrophic. One evening, as the team gathered in the main control room, an alert flashed across every screen. A probe, previously unseen, had entered the lower orbit of Earth. Its movements were deliberate, almost predatory. Elias leaned forward, eyes scanning the readouts. "They're probing deeper, testing our defenses, testing our patience." Amara clenched her fists. "Then we respond. Not with fear, but with intelligence. Every calculation, every move. They will see us as more than primitive creatures." Commander Jiro Tanaka, usually stoic, spoke quietly, his voice carrying weight. "We are small in comparison, but we are human. We improvise, we endure, and we adapt faster than any algorithm they might use to predict us. That is our weapon." The team worked through the night, sending back patterns, rhythms, and sequences of energy designed to confuse the probe. They did not aim to destroy. It was not yet a battle of firepower, but a demonstration, a declaration. Humanity could learn, adapt, and respond in ways no civilization had predicted. High above, the probe reacted. Its trajectory altered subtly, almost imperceptibly, as if acknowledging the human's ingenuity. In the crystalline halls of the Galactic High Command, the monitors flickered with data streaming in from Earth. One being spoke softly, voice laced with something unfamiliar. Hesitation. "They understand. They adapt. This was not anticipated." Another shimmered, less certain. "Their response is coordinated, thoughtful, efficient, and yet unpredictable." Back on Earth, Amara and Elias watched the probe slowly adjust its orbit, its behavior no longer chaotic but cautious. Humanity had made the first mark. It was a small victory, invisible to the broader world but monumental to those who had dared to see it. Elias turned to Amara. "They mocked us once. They thought us weak. Now they're learning a hard truth. Humans are relentless. We do not surrender to inevitability. We invent, we fight, and we endure." Amara nodded, feeling a fierce warmth spread through her chest. "They don't know us yet. Not even close. But we're beginning to show them. One step at a time, one spark at a time." Outside, the night sky shimmered, the probe's lights moving like a cautious observer. And on Earth, a new determination took hold, a determination to rise, to challenge, and to prove that no galaxy could dismiss the indomitable human spirit. For the first time, the Galactic High Command understood something profound. Mocking Earth had been a grave mistake, and humanity, untested but unyielding, was only beginning to awaken. The world slept unaware, but in secret rooms, on silent satellites, and in laboratories that hummed with electricity, humans worked tirelessly. The signals from space had shifted in tone, as if the Galactic High Command were no longer simply observing. They were probing, testing the limits of Earth's ingenuity. And for the first time, humanity decided not to just respond, but to take initiative. Amara Lin and Elias Rowan stood at the helm of the Global Response Initiative, a coalition of scientists, engineers, and strategists who had come together with one goal: to prove that humanity was more than the High Command had imagined. Elias's voice was calm, yet carried the weight of authority. "We've been reactive long enough. It's time to show them that Earth is not just clever. We are formidable." Amara nodded, fingers tracing the holographic patterns of satellites, probes, and signals. "They expect chaos, improvisation, mistakes. Let's give them precision. Let's show them we can anticipate, plan, and execute. They may control the tools, but we control our minds." The first offensive was subtle. Not weapons, not destruction, but disruption. Humanity had learned from the High Command's own probes, how they moved, how they observed, how they tested patterns. By adjusting the electromagnetic fields of satellites, sending precise pulses and coded signals, humans began to interfere with the High Command's surveillance network. Dr. Lena Cortez explained with excitement, "We're creating controlled feedback loops. Every probe they send will encounter interference that is deliberate, intelligent, adaptive. It's like giving them a puzzle they cannot solve quickly." The Galactic High Command, confident in their superiority, watched as their probes began reporting anomalies. Confusion rippled across their crystalline council chamber. "This should not be happening," one being hissed, eyes narrowing. Their response is, "They are structured, calculated. They adapt faster than anticipated." Amara and Elias monitored the situation, hearts pounding. Humanity had turned the tables. For the first time, humans were not merely observed, they were influencing, altering the very way their cosmic overseers gathered intelligence. "Every probe they launch, every signal they send will now encounter our ingenuity," Elias said firmly. They underestimated creativity. They underestimated persistence. They underestimated us. Across Earth, coordinated teams mirrored the efforts of Amara and Elias, engineers in Asia, mathematicians in Europe, coders in North America, all contributed to a global tapestry of resistance. It was a quiet revolution, invisible to most of the planet but monumental in its implications. Humanity had begun to strike back, not with firepower but with intellect and unity. In the High Command's council chamber, doubt spread like a ripple. "Primitive creatures," one whispered, but the voice lacked conviction. Another, more cautious, said, "They are capable of learning. They are unpredictable." And unpredictability was humanity's greatest weapon. Every time the High Command attempted to recalibrate their probes, humans anticipated the adjustment, creating new sequences that forced the crystalline beings to pause, reassess, and sometimes retreat. Elias and Amara watched a live feed of a probe spiraling off course, its sensors misreading intentionally crafted signals. Amara's eyes shone with determination. "This is just the beginning. They will realize quickly we are not merely reactive. We are proactive, intelligent, unstoppable when we unite." That night, as Earth turned silently beneath them, Amara and Elias stood on a rooftop, looking up at the sky. Tiny pinpricks of light, probes, and signals danced among the stars. "They mocked us once," Elias said softly. "They thought Earth was fragile, chaotic, insignificant. And now?" "Now they know," Amara replied, voice steady, heart full of fire. "They know humans are more than they expected. They know we are resilient. They know we fight in ways no one predicted. They know Earth cannot be ignored." Far above, in the cold expanse of space, the High Command adjusted its strategies, realizing that their mockery had ignited a species they could not easily control. They had underestimated the one trait no machine could predict: human ingenuity, persistence, and unity. And on Earth, a new confidence took hold. Humanity was learning to play in a game that had seemed impossible, learning that their small blue world held minds capable of outthinking those who had believed themselves invincible. For the first time in history, Earth did not wait to be judged. Earth took its stand, and the galaxy began to pay attention. The night sky over Earth had never been darker, yet it seemed alive with unseen energy. Humanity's subtle offensive had drawn attention, and now the Galactic High Command was preparing its first direct test, a trial meant to measure the limits of human resilience. In the Global Response Initiative headquarters, Amara Lynn and Elias Rowan studied the incoming data with grim determination. The probes were no longer passive observers. Massive orbital constructs had appeared, creating energy fields around Earth's atmosphere. Satellite signals were being jammed, communications interrupted, and strange gravitational anomalies affected flight paths across the planet. Elias clenched his fists, jaw tight. They're escalating. This isn't observation anymore. It's a test, an active challenge. They want to see how we react under extreme conditions. Amara nodded, her eyes scanning the swirling streams of data. They'll push us to the limit. They'll try to force panic, confusion, chaos. But humans, she paused, voice steady with conviction. Humans adapt, humans endure, and humans fight back. Teams across the globe scrambled to respond. Engineers rerouted satellite networks, mathematicians devised predictive algorithms for the probe's movement, and scientists worked day and night to stabilize failing communications. Civilians, unaware of the cosmic trial above them, went about their lives, their resilience forming the invisible backbone of humanity's defense. Dr. Lena Cortez, monitoring energy fluctuations from a secret laboratory, spoke with urgency. They've created a global stress test. If we fail, it could cripple every system we've built. But if we succeed, she let the thought linger, we show them that humanity is unbreakable. Elias took a deep breath. Then we succeed. So fear, no hesitation. Every calculation, every response, every choice, it matters. This is our trial, and we will not fail. The first wave struck at dawn. Orbital constructs released targeted energy pulses toward Earth's cities, disrupting power grids, scrambling electronic systems, and igniting fear across continents. But humanity's preparation held. Adaptive circuits rerouted energy, emergency protocols activated, and local communities improvised to maintain stability. In the control room, Amara guided a team in sending countersignals, weaving intricate patterns to confuse the construct's sensors. Each pulse of energy was calculated with precision, turning the High Command's own technology against their expectations. Hours passed like minutes. The sky shimmered with invisible battles, humanity's ingenuity clashing against alien precision, and slowly, steadily Earth held. Systems stabilized, communications restored. The constructs faltered, unable to predict the complexity of human response. Elias allowed himself a small, grim smile. They expected chaos. They expected collapse. But they underestimated one thing. Amara's eyes shone with determination. Our courage, our will, our refusal to surrender to inevitability. Meanwhile, in the crystalline halls of the High Command, silence reigned. One being spoke, voice trembling with disbelief. They endured.
And they adapted.
Their response, it is remarkable. Another shimmered, less confident. This species is unlike any we have faced. They are not fragile. They are not weak. They are relentless. Back on Earth, as the sun rose, the skies cleared. Humanity had passed the trial, not through overwhelming force, but through unity, intelligence, and courage under pressure. Every city, every village, every laboratory had contributed, knowingly or unknowingly, to a demonstration of human resilience. Amara turned to Elias, exhaustion painted on both their faces, yet pride burning in their eyes. They wanted to see if we would break, and we didn't. Elias nodded, gaze fixed on the horizon. They thought we were primitive. They thought we would fail. And now they know the truth. Humans endure. Humans adapt. And humans fight, even when the odds are impossible. In space, the orbital constructs hovered, silent and still, recalibrating their strategies. The Galactic High Command was learning a lesson it had never anticipated. Underestimating humanity was not only dangerous, it was impossible. And on Earth, a quiet confidence spread. Humanity had faced fire and emerged unscathed, stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. The trial was over, but the battle for recognition, respect, and survival had only just begun. Somewhere in the infinite darkness, The High Command reconsidered everything they thought they knew, and humanity, unbowed, prepared for the next challenge. The trial had ended, but the world had changed. Earth had survived what should have been its breaking point, and in the aftermath, humanity found something that had long been fractured: unity. For the first time in centuries, nations cooperated not out of politics or profit, but out of necessity and shared pride. Humanity had glimpsed the enormity of the universe and found itself unafraid. Amara Lynn stood in the command center overlooking the Aurora skyline. The world below shimmered with restored energy grids flickering like constellations reborn. Elias Rowan stood beside her, his uniform creased and worn, his eyes reflecting the dawn. "We've proven we can endure," Amara said softly. "Now we must prove we can rise." Elias nodded, his expression hardening into resolve. "They tested us with pressure. Let's answer with brilliance." Over the next weeks, the Global Response Initiative evolved into something greater. Project Sentinel, Earth's first coordinated defense and communication network designed to reach and challenge the Galactic High Command on their own level. Scientists, engineers, and thinkers across every continent pooled their knowledge, breaking boundaries of language, culture, and ideology. Dr. Lena Cortez worked tirelessly with quantum systems, devising ways to transmit signals faster than light using entangled particles. Mathematicians like Omar Faiz created patterns so complex and beautiful that even alien algorithms struggled to decipher them. And Commander Jiro Tanaka led the Orbital Engineering Division, constructing satellites capable of harnessing the same energy pulses once used against Earth. Every breakthrough echoed the same message: humanity learns, adapts, and evolves faster than any civilization expects. As the first Sentinel network came online, Amara initiated the transmission. "Signal ready," Lena announced, her hands trembling with excitement. "Coordinates locked." Amara's voice was steady. "Send it." A pulse of light surged into the heavens, rippling across the void. It carried more than data. It carried emotion, creativity, and humanity's indomitable will. The message was simple yet powerful. We are Earth, we are not afraid. We seek understanding, not submission. For hours the signal vanished into silence, and then it returned. Across the cosmos, the Galactic High Command's council chamber flared to life. Their crystalline forms shimmered with agitation as Earth's message resonated across their systems. "They reached us?" one voice stammered. "Impossible. Their technology was primitive," another interrupted. Trembling, but no longer, the High Commander, an ancient being whose light flickered with authority, watched the streams of information unfold. Within the message lay encoded layers of logic, art, and philosophy. It was not just data. It was humanity, raw, emotional, alive. "They speak with the language of thought," the commander murmured. "And they speak with beauty." On Earth, the signal's return sparked celebration. Across cities, people cheered, sang, and cried, not from fear but from pride. Humanity had spoken to the stars, and the stars had answered. Elias stood beside Amara on the observation deck, watching as auroras shimmered in colors unseen before, a side effect of the vast energy exchange. "We've made contact," he said quietly. "But they'll come again, not to test us this time, but to understand what we are." Amara nodded, her voice filled with conviction. "Let them come. Let them see that humans are more than the chaos they mocked. We are dreamers, builders, survivors, and together, unstoppable." Above them, the Sentinel satellites aligned into perfect formation, gleaming like new stars in Earth's orbit. Each was a symbol of unity, not of conquest, but of determination and hope. And far beyond, the High Command debated in tones no human ear could hear. "This world, this humanity," one said. "They remind me of our ancestors, but before pride blinded us." Another added softly, "Perhaps they are what we lost, the courage, imagination, and heart." The High Commander's crystalline face flickered in contemplation. "Then we must decide. Do we crush them to preserve our illusion of power, or learn from them before it's too late?" Silence followed. The silence of an empire realizing that mockery had turned into respect. On Earth, Amara gazed at the stars that had once been symbols of mystery and fear. "They laughed at us," she whispered. But the universe just heard our voice, and it listened. Elias smiled faintly, his gaze unwavering. Now they'll see who we truly are. And as Earth spun beneath a canopy of shimmering light, humanity's message continued to echo through the cosmos, a pulse of defiance, hope, and heart that no civilization, however vast or ancient, could ever ignore. The galaxy had tested humanity. Now humanity would redefine the galaxy. The stars above were no longer distant points of light. They were witnesses. The Galactic High Command, long arrogant and untouchable, had focused its attention entirely on Earth. What began as mockery had transformed into caution, then curiosity, and now, undeniable respect. Amara Lynn stood on the observation deck of the Global Response Initiative headquarters, the Sentinel satellites orbiting silently above. Elias Rowan joined her, his presence calm yet unwavering, as the world held its collective breath. "They've sent their envoys," Amara said, eyes fixed on the first ships emerging from the void. Sleek, crystalline forms glinting like starlight, their surfaces seemed to pulse with intelligence. "They want to see us." Up close, Elias's jaw tightened. "They've underestimated us for too long. Today, they'll learn exactly who we are." Humanity had prepared, not with weapons meant for destruction, but with brilliance, courage, and strategy. Every Sentinel satellite was ready to provide intelligence and defense. Every major city had protocols for communication and coordination, and the people of Earth had for the first time a shared confidence that surpassed fear. The envoys approached silently, their presence immense and awe-inspiring. Communication attempts began, subtle pulses of energy and carefully crafted signals echoing across space. Amara activated the translation matrices. Slowly, the alien words became comprehensible, their crystalline voices resonant and measured. "We observed. We mocked. We judged. We underestimated," one voice said. "But Earth is unlike any we have known." Amara stepped forward, her voice calm, resolute. "And yet you saw only chaos at first. You thought our species would falter, that our curiosity would lead to weakness. You were wrong." The envoy's lights shimmered as though processing not just words but intent, emotion, and courage.
"You are
adaptive. You are creative. You endure beyond expectation. We have misjudged you." Elias's voice joined hers, steady and commanding. "We are humans. We fight not because we seek dominance, but because we believe in possibility, in hope, and in unity. You saw our weakness at first, and now you see our strength." The envoys pulsed with light and acknowledgement. "Then you have proven your worth. Not by weapon, not by force, but by spirit, your ingenuity, your resilience. It is remarkable. Perhaps humanity is destined for more than mere survival." On Earth, people watched as the auroras shimmered with unseen energy, a silent testament to humanity's achievement. This was not conquest nor surrender, it was recognition. The universe had finally taken note of a small blue planet, one that refused to bow. Amara looked at Elias, a quiet smile on her lips. "We didn't just survive their test. We changed the way they see us. We earned our place among the stars." Elias nodded, eyes reflecting the shimmer of the satellites above. "And we will continue to rise. We will continue to explore, to create, to endure. They mocked us once, but they will never forget Earth again." The High Command's envoys lingered briefly, then with deliberate grace withdrew into the infinite void, leaving behind signals of respect, acknowledgement, and an unspoken promise. Humanity would no longer be underestimated. In the weeks that followed, the story of Earth's triumph spread, not through newspapers or broadcasts, but through the subtle ripples of energy and intelligence that connected the Sentinel network to the wider cosmos. Earth had proven that the smallest planet could outthink, outlast, and outshine expectation. And among humans, a quiet pride took hold. They had faced the unthinkable, endured the impossible, and emerged victorious, not through fire or destruction, but through unity, courage, and heart. Amara stood once more beneath the night sky, now filled with stars that seemed to shimmer with respect. Elias joined her, his hand brushing hers. "They mocked us," she said softly, "and we proved them wrong." Elias smiled, gaze firm on the horizon. "And we'll continue to prove it every day as long as we endure. Humanity is unstoppable." The stars above pulsed faintly as if acknowledging the truth. A small blue planet filled with imperfect, chaotic, brilliant beings had risen. The galaxy had learned that mockery of Earth was folly, and that humanity's spirit was a force beyond measure. And in that quiet, infinite moment, the universe understood: never underestimate Earth.